Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Eczema Warrior podcast. It is episode 101. And today we're going to talk about how dysregulated your nervous system actually is. What is often overlooked when it comes to chronic symptoms like eczema, headaches, and fatigue is the link between the symptoms and your nervous system. And I think the world needs to know how much your nervous system actually plays a role in your healing and in your symptoms. And so this episode is going to be perfect for you if you're someone who feels that you're eating really healthy, you're taking all the supplements, you're working with someone to help you with your protocol, but you're just feeling like something is missing and you feel that maybe it's the nervous system regulation that possibly that you're not doing enough of, or even if you are doing the things, maybe it feels like it isn't as effective as you would like it to be. Now, before we get into today's episode, I'm very excited to share that right now we are doing a birthday launch. So every year I like to do a birthday launch. I like to give back and offer a promo or some savings when it comes to my offers. Usually it's on my coaching programs, which is Clear Eczema or my one-on-one coaching. But this year I decided to launch something called the Healing Intensive. And I'm very excited because this healing intensive session, it's all about nervous system, mindset, and how to reframe your mind when it comes to your healing, your skin, your gut. If you feel very stuck when it comes to your healing and your mindset, the session will help you exactly with that. We will spend the first half of the session uncovering limiting beliefs, figuring out, okay, what is it that is keeping you stuck from moving forward when it comes to your mindset and your thoughts? What are some tools that we can start implementing in the call, but also on your own time so we can start removing some of that mindset blocks that maybe you don't really notice that you have right now. And I will help you identify that in the first half of the session. We will also work on reframing your negative thoughts to positive thoughts. So if you find that you're someone who naturally resorts to focusing on the negative, how can we use simple tools to retrain the mind so that you can start focusing on the things that are working in your healing journey rather than the things that aren't? So I'll be teaching you in this healing intensive. And then, of course, the root causes is going to be really important too when it comes to figuring out why you have symptoms. And so in the last half of the session, I'm going to be doing a clinical assessment, a medical history review with you to look at what your root causes are when it comes to your symptoms. Is it your gut health? Is it your hormones? Is it that your liver needs more support? So I'm using my dietitian brain and my clinical experience to help you figure that out. So you get a combination of both mindset work and clinical root causes work, which is really, really powerful when it comes to healing, right? We want to combine the mindset and the strategy. And you're going to get all of this inside the healing intensive. Plus, you're going to get a journaling workbook that's going to help you further with limiting beliefs and your mindset. And you'll receive a personalized protocol with all of my diet, supplement, mindset, lifestyle recommendations written perfectly for you. If you're from the US or Canada, you also get lifetime access to my professional grade supplement dispensary, where my recommendations when it comes to your supplements will come from there. You also get lifetime access, so you can get the best quality supplements via FullScript. If you're someone who is outside of US and Canada, you will also receive my professional grade supplement recommendations in your protocol. It's just that with FullScript, which is only for US and Canada. So with all of that included, the healing intensive right now, we only have a few spots left because it is a one-on-one private coaching session. Spots are filling up really quickly. And so if you want to lock in your spot, go to the show notes below and you can book your session. And then also I'm doing a birthday promo. So you get all of this for the price of $333 and the regular price is usually $555. I'm really excited to see you inside. Let me know if you have any more questions. Now let's get into the episode. So let's talk about your nervous system. So your nervous system starts with the autonomic nervous system. And this is basically the systems in your body that works without you thinking about it. So think about it as a command center where your body does the things without you thinking about doing it. For example, your digestion, when you eat food, it does the work when it comes to that. Your immune function, when you are going through an illness, when you're trying to not get sick, right? Your body is constantly trying to support your immune system so that you don't get ill. And if you do, it knows how to fight that. Your skin healing as well. It's part of the autonomic nervous system because it knows how to heal. So when it comes to your autonomic nervous system, there's actually two parts to it. And I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about this before because in the previous episodes, I mentioned the sympathetic nervous system as well as your parasympathetic nervous system. In other words, sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight response, and then the parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest. Now, when your body is in a balanced state, meaning your nervous system isn't dysregulated, it is more regulated, it flows between the two states, sympathetic and parasympathetic. It does both, right? Because you need a little bit of stress in order to survive, but you don't want to stay in the stress state, because when you're in the stress state, then you're more in the sympathetic state, which causes your body to have chronic stress and chronic inflammation. Now, in the world we live in today, we tend to lean towards the sympathetic state. And sometimes, a lot of the times, for those of you listening who have eczema, we don't actually realize how much our bodies are actually in the sympathetic state, which is why in this episode, I'll be sharing the physical, emotional, and behavioral signs and symptoms that your nervous system is likely dysregulated. But I wanted to talk about exactly what the nervous system means and what is the parasympathetic versus sympathetic nervous system. Why is this so important to understand when it comes to your healing? So when you're trying to heal your body, the ideal state for it to heal the fastest is when your body is in the rest and digest state. That is also your recovery state, the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, healing actually happens in this state, right? However, if your body is in constant stress, whether it's from work, emotional stress, stress about your condition, physical stress from your diet, thinking about your symptoms, worrying, things like that, you are constantly in the sympathetic state. So it doesn't give your body the chance to actually heal as much as you want it to heal because it's stuck here. I always use the analogy of the tiger. If you are in the sympathetic state all the time, you're always running away from the tiger. Your body doesn't have the capacity to be able to heal your eczema and digest your food and support your immune system and heal your gut if you're running away from the tiger, because it's going to focus on keeping you alive so that you don't get eaten by the tiger, but doesn't know the difference. When you're really trying to heal your skin, but you don't realize that your body's actually running away from the tiger, then you're going to be in this constant battle of, I'm not healing, but I'm not healing because I'm stressed, but then I don't know I'm stressed. And so you kind of just go in this back and forth, right? I see that a lot in my work and in my clients, and also in my healing journey as well. When I notice flares, it's like, okay, how have I been feeling lately? Have I been stressed? Have I been overthinking? And it does take a lot of deep reflection and thinking about, okay, what is really going on? How am I really feeling? And oftentimes you need outside support to help you identify these things, right? Like a therapist or a coach, a mindset coach. It always helps to have other sets of eyes to look at what is it that's really missing in your protocol, especially if you feel like you're already doing everything in your protocol. There's also something called the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is a nerve that connects your brain to your gut. And it is in constant communication. It's like a communication highway. Your brain communicates to your gut, it sends signals, it sends hormones. Vice versa, your gut sends signals to the brain, sends hormones as well. It plays a huge role in digestion, inflammation, skin healing, immune system. But when your body is in a chronically stressed state, it's going to affect that communication in a negative way. And so we really have to be intentional with activating the vagus nerve so that it actually shifts and signals your body to the parasympathetic state, which is, again, where your body is going to help you heal, digest better, and your skin's going to heal a lot faster. And so this is why the mindfulness comes in and the nervous system regulation comes in, because that actually helps with the vagus nerve and the communication pathway. Deep breathing, meditation, journaling, all of the things that help regulate our nervous system helps us with the vagus nerve, which then supports your gut and supports your brain, which is what we want. Now that you understand how the nervous system works, let's talk about the signs and symptoms. The signs and symptoms of your nervous system being dysregulated, I separated into 3 different systems. There are physical signs, emotional signs, and behavioral signs. Physical signs, which some of you might already experience. Eczema is a huge one, a huge link between eczema and your nervous system, huge. Gut issues, if you're chronically constipated. Also, if you lean towards diarrhea, that is also related to nervous system as well. Think about people who have IBS. In their diagnosis, they also usually have stress and anxiety. A lot of people with IBS are prescribed antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. And they have the classic symptoms of IBS, which is constipation and diarrhea. One or the other, or they could have both. Another physical sign is fatigue. If you have chronic fatigue, fatigue, even if you sleep well, then that is a sign that your nervous system might be dysregulated. If you notice headaches, if you just have general inflammation, chronic pain, joint pain, those can also be signs of a dysregulated nervous system as well. PMS symptoms, my ladies. If you experience PMS, painful menstrual periods, heavy cycles, a lot of mood swings, that's also a physical sign. Hair loss, if you've noticed that when you're more stressed, maybe you're noticing more hair loss. Weight gain or loss, so if you're noticing that you're gaining a lot of weight, even if you're not eating very much, that could be stress as well. Or weight loss, so you're noticing that you're eating enough, but you're actually still losing weight because your body is fighting, it's trying to keep you alive. So it's burning a lot of nutrients and burning a lot of protein, and then you end up losing weight. If you feel like you have chest pain, you don't know why, you've done the testing, nothing is showing up abnormal, that can also be a sign of anxiety, nervous system stuff. Okay, emotional signs. So this is a huge one. If you have anxiety, if you feel irritable, everything triggers you, you're more emotional than usual, you have a lot of anger and frustration that seems to be hard to control, you have trouble focusing. So if you're trying to do work, you're just noticing that you're not able to focus. And then when it comes to your healing, in terms of emotional signs, maybe you just feel very angry and triggered about your eczema and your chronic symptoms, maybe constantly upset about your skin or constantly upset about why things aren't working, just a lot more emotional. These emotional signs can tell us that maybe because the nervous system isn't regulated as much as we want it to be, you're just finding it a hard time coping with everything. Behavioral signs. Sleep is a huge one. This is something I always ask my clients. How are you sleeping? Are you sleeping through the night? Aside from itching, because I know when you itch, it keeps you up. But aside from itching, do you just have trouble sleeping in general? Do you have a history of it? Do you have insomnia? That is definitely related to your nervous system. If you are easily overwhelmed, so little things that you usually wouldn't be overwhelmed with, you seem to feel overwhelmed with it. That could also be an emotional sign as well. If you are over obsessing and over focusing on your symptoms, you're anxious, right? You want to control your healing. Every day you think about it, that can also be a behavioral sign that your nervous system is dysregulated, because if you're more calm and you trusted and you believed and you just knew that everything you're doing is working, then we wouldn't focus on the things that aren't working, which is the other thing when it comes to behavioral is, are you focusing more on the negative? You constantly have negative thoughts, but you don't have an outlet. It gets stuck right here. You feel disconnected from your whole body. You feel like you're doing the things to heal your body, like you're eating the right foods, you're maybe doing a little bit of mindfulness, but you have a little bit of feeling like your body is working against you, and you just kind of don't really see the connection sometimes. And I'm just making sure I don't miss anything here. Took some notes. Another big one when it comes to behavioral signs is you can't actually stay consistent with your routine and regimen. Maybe you know that when you sleep early and when you eat properly, you see your skin heal. But there's something about this routine that you just don't like doing, or you feel like it's overwhelming and you just feel like you're spreading yourself too thin when it comes to your routine. That can actually tell us that, okay, maybe you're burnt out, maybe there's been a lot going on, and it's showing in the sign that you can't actually stay consistent in the things that you know actually help you. That's another sign as well. So I hope that list helps you, and maybe you had an aha moment when you're like, wow, actually I didn't know PMS was a physical sign of nervous system dysregulation. I didn't know that when I overfocus and overthink and obsess about my symptoms, that affects my nervous system 100%. Now that you understand these are the symptoms that are coming up, then it's all about knowing how to regulate your nervous system. We cannot change and take away stress, right? But we can respond to it in a better way. And that is how you regulate your nervous system. It's all about the response and your body's resilience. Techniques like meditation, breathing makes all the difference when it comes to your vagus nerve and your nervous system. We want to activate the vagus nerve, and breath work, meditation, EFT tapping, for example, are good tools to use. What we often forget is the nutrition that actually affects our nervous system as well. Like what you eat and your blood sugar balance makes a big difference on your nervous system. And there's certain foods that support your nervous system, and there's certain foods that don't. So looking at your nutrition and making sure you're getting enough of those nutrients to support your body helps with supporting your nervous system as well. Exercise is a big one as well. I know some of you might not be able to exercise because of your skin and your symptoms, but there are light ones that you can do, right? Like yoga practices, very gentle ones, going for a walk, getting outside. Those are all very simple and easy and low impact exercises that won't cause pain in your skin or is difficult to do. For me, when it comes to regulating my nervous system, I'm all about routine. I need to have a morning routine. I need to make sure I go to bed at a certain time. If I sleep a couple hours too late, like 1 a.m. as opposed to 11, I completely feel off the next day. So, morning routines is really important for me personally. Being in nature helps me a lot. I'm very strict with my routine when it comes to going to the gym. That's what works for me, but you have to do what works for you. But the first thing is actually doing a lifestyle audit and looking at your day to day. Okay, am I finding time in the morning to do my mindfulness practice? Do I give myself enough work breaks? Do I actually slow down? Or am I just someone that just wakes up and go, wakes up and go? Because we can't be doing that as humans. We can't just wake up and go. There's a certain point where it worked for you and you didn't have symptoms. And there are people who do that. They work and go, work and go, work and go. But this is how chronic symptoms and conditions develop over time, right? The stress builds up, builds up, builds up, and then it blows up into a huge eczema flare. You suddenly getting all these gut problems. People start getting diabetes, they get heart issues, right? They gain a bunch of weight, like whatever it is, it will show up in a different way: physical, emotional, mental, behavioral. So we have to make sure we stop the cycle with using the right tools and understanding what your triggers are. Do you need to regulate your nervous system? Are you aware that your nervous system is related to your symptoms? I hope that in this episode, I showed you that this might be the case for you. If you need support with this, nervous system regulation, understanding the science, having the right tools to implement all of this mindfulness kind of stuff, this is what the Healing Intensive is all about. I'm only doing this offer this time around. This is not an offer that I'll be doing forever. So that's something I want to mention as well. It's a limited time only offer and it's with limited spots as well. So if this resonated with you and you need help with this, in addition to the root cause work, then I would love to support you on your healing journey in this private coaching package, and you can book your session in the show notes. If you have any questions, if this episode helped you, leave us a review. That would help us a lot in growing the podcast. And in next week's episode, I'm going to be talking about more about the nutrition when it comes to supporting your nervous system. So stay tuned for that.